Alright, so for my assignment 9, basically we are just doing optimization. Specifically, we're doing Frustum Culling. Frustum Culling is basically just where if an object is outside of your view, don't render it. Uh, basically just optimize and speed up your games and stuff, not having to render unnecessary objects and stuff. So basically what we have here is this is a world object frustum. So basically this would represent a view, and you can see these black boxes here would be called objects. So these fall outside of the view here, and so then are therefore called, whereas these three are inside the view and are then rendered. So I have this GUI here, which basically allows me to control the frustum itself. So if I rotate this around, you'll see I'll be able to get in different cubes, and you'll see everything change as you would expect it to. And you can rotate this any way you want, the X direction or the Y direction. Box controls will basically just allow you to move around any of these 12 boxes that we have here. So these are just labeled 0 through 11, 0 starting here, and then going 1, 2, 3, 4 around clockwise to 11. And if you want to get a specific point, you can just do the control click and look in the console here, and you'll be able to see that. So if I control click, this, and then oh, hold on, I was in the GUI. So if I control click this, there you'll see it pop up, and you'll see the 11. So if you want to move a specific box around and you're confused at which one is which, then there you go. So yeah, basically then with the box controls, you can move boxes around. So you can see I can move it inside the view. If I wanted to move it in any direction you want to, so the Y direction or the Z direction, and then I have a rotation and stuff like that. So I will show a better demo with rotation in a bit. You can see these buttons down here. The 0 slider is basically just resets it as 0s in the X and Y direction, and then just puts it at 50. We keep it at 50 at the Z just for simplicity. And then adding a cube, so you can just add a cube. This is basically just branched off of the GUI that I did back when we first did GUIs. So adding a cube, and then you can select in this drop down here, and then move it wherever you want. And then deleting it just deletes it out. And then back up here to this option. So obviously it's nice to see it work with this own custom thing, but how about we actually do it with the actual camera, which is what you would do when you're actually optimizing stuff. So if we select this, now it's calling using the camera. So obviously I can see all the boxes here, so they're all red. So how do we tell if I move this way if they're actually changing? Well, I have another GUI here that will basically just give you a list of objects that are being called. So you can see that goes 0 through 11, and as I pan back, it will go down to none. And then this works too with the frustum. So if you wanted to see that while you moved it around, at which cubes are being called, then there you go. All right, so for the getting it on the edge here, let's what I'm going to do is take this 0 cube you see here, and let's move it to -2. That way it's sitting on this the y-axis, and then if we rotate this frustum around, you'll see as soon as that crosses right there, you see it basically works right there on the edge. We can also see it using the camera, so let's take this box and move it out here and get it away from everything. So if we turn around here and switch it to using the camera, right now you can see it says box 0 again. You can see in this list 0 isn't being called. And if I just move it out right there, see, just as soon as it gets out of frame, it goes to 0. As for the rotation stuff, so if I, this is box 0, So if I move it out of frame, and you see now it's being culled. If I take the rotation and rotate it, you can see it comes into frame there on the right side and is not being culled anymore. And if I rotate it back, it's being culled. It just shows that it works on rotations. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have for the actual culling stuff. Seems to be working pretty well. I'll go ahead and show my code real fast, just do a quick walkthrough of it. So the culling happens here, the culling test. So basically, it's just a vector I use to keep track of the labels of the boxes that are being culled. That's what's displayed on the GUI. Basically, we get the axis aligned bounding box, transform it through the current display matrix, and then we get the frustum geometry based on whether or not we're using the camera or if we're just using the world object. Get all the vertices, so the min-max of each XYZ combination. So all 8 there, and then we check all 6 planes and see if basically we assume that it's true, go through the vertices. If we hit, or we assume that culling is true, go through the vertices, and then if we find one where it is in view, where the basically the dot product between the normal and the vertex position is less than or equal to the distance of the plane, then it's in view. So it's not going to be culled. So we break out. And then after breaking out, then we basically just do a check. And if it's still, if it passes through there and it is being culled, then basically we just apply the skin and add it to the culled vector so we can display it, and then fully break out because we don't need to keep testing if we don't need to test the other faces if it gets through one. And then otherwise, then we just use the red shiny texture, and then that's just updating the class variable. So that's pretty much all I have. Thank you.